Alright everyone, here we go. This is Lagerstrom, and this is my WTS Montreal race recap.
This video made possible by Argon 18 and by Red Bull for supplying the music.
Coming into this race, had a little bit different plan than usual. As some people may know, I've been having problems with my foot and some nerve pain. And as Americans, we decided that it would be better use of our resources and energy to try and get my teammate, Matt McElroy, into the chase pack. Matt's a 28:30 10K runner, and getting him anywhere close to the front would for sure yield a pretty great result. So here in this pack with us is Crisanto Grajales, among other people, and he ended up making it into the lead pack. Not the lead pack, but the main pack by the end of the race, and he ran pretty well, coming around, I think it was around the top 10. Now this is the longest continuous time out of T1 that I've ever shown, and that's basically because it was pretty full gas and I feel like it deserves to be shown. This was an entirely out of this saddle section right here as we rode through the Old Town before getting up onto the top of the course, which is basically a 2-kilometer long straightaway. So while it's a technical course at either end, in the middle it's really just a drag race, and that was another reason why we decided to go with this strategy. A lot of it would come down to power and how well we were able to get the guys we were with to work and cooperate. So at this point I think we have about 30 seconds to the pack that's in front of us, and we can see them right there, and right here I get a little bit excited at that fact, and at the same time somebody is a little bit too gassed and doesn't come in to take a pull, and I had to slow down a little bit. Here's Matt on my wheel now, and once he was back there and we had the whole pack intact, got back on the gas and tried to make up some time. Right there, that's Eli Hemming from the United States, also in our pack, and one other American, Hunter Lucy, was in there as well. So this is the far end of the course, and back to having Matt on my wheel, and we took a couple of these corners pretty hard, as well as obviously just pushing the pace and dropped the guys that were with us. That ended up maybe not being the most efficient thing, but I was kind of the mindset that this is the crunch time. We really didn't have any time to spare, and we needed to try to catch the lead pack as quickly as possible. So once we got back up onto the flat here, the rest of the pack does end up catching back up, but unfortunately, the energy used to do that could have been used propelling us all forward together. So like I said, not exactly the most efficient way to go. Also, with kind of that little bit of a hesitation, a couple extra guys got into our pack here, and then I can start trying to call out some names. We had Declan Wilson, that's Lucas Hollis in red. I don't know who this is, from Norway, and Kenji Ninner from Australia was in there, working really hard as well. And here we are coming back, finishing the first lap, coming back into transition. This is basically the most technical part of the ride. Make this turn on cobblestones, slam over a bunch more cobblestones, and make a 180-degree turn before coming back through the bike racks. Coming through here, it didn't make a ton of difference who was on the front necessarily. Everybody was getting out of the saddle and having to sprint pretty hard, so it was really just try to close the gaps, keep as connected as possible so that we could get back to work once we got up onto this straight here. That's Grant Sheldon from Great Britain, and also Fernando Alarza, and by this point Jake Birtwistle from Australia had also made it into our group. So with Alarza and Birtwistle kind of going off the front there, there was a lot of firepower in this group, and we really started to bring down the gap a lot quicker. Each lap I think we were taking off about 5 seconds. The only thing was, a couple times here we could have done this a little bit better, but Fernando Alarza and Jake Birtwistle were pulling pretty hard, and I had to make sure that I was still connected with Matt, and that the two of us were staying with the front there. But we were going super fast, and using the technical sections here, I could kind of get back into the mix, close down those openings without having to expend a huge amount of energy. Here's an example of Grant Sheldon was just a little tired there. and kind of my job was in situations like that where somebody wasn't able to take a pull or whatever the case was, if there was any sort of lull in the pace, I needed to jump in and make sure that we just kept the rotation flowing no matter what. So being a domestique for someone isn't necessarily about doing all the work yourself, but rather kind of facilitating your group to move forward as quickly as possible. Everything was going pretty well right up until here. We were about 10 seconds, 13 seconds away from the lead pack, and everything came unglued. That was Eli Hemming snapping his chain on the uphill. I wasn't really able to avoid it. Went down with him, and I was fine, but my derailleur hanger had bent and put my derailleur completely into the spokes. Matt ended up going down about 2 minutes later in an unrelated and equally ridiculous accident, and
There's not a lot I can say except we push our gear to the limit on races like this with so many accelerations out of U-turns, and the best you can do is keep that stuff new and stay in the best position possible in the pack and try to stay out of trouble. Thanks for watching, everybody. And the next race for me is Carlo Vivari World Cup in Czech Republic.